Welcome to the Leadership Unscripted podcast presented by Hiring Strategies. The Leadership Unscripted podcast is your go-to source for all things people management oriented. In each episode, we discuss industry trends, problems, and more importantly, offer solutions. We are so happy you could join us.
Good morning. I'm Kim Layson with Hiring Strategies, where we give organizations systems and processes to make sure that they know how to attract, engage, and keep top performing employees. And leadership is one of those things that attracts candidates to your organization. Leadership is responsible for engaging employees once you have them. And leadership is solely responsible for keeping good employees. So Leadership Unscripted is where we talk about it all. Today, I am very proud and excited to introduce one of our clients, Lauren Lopp, from a legacy institution in Washington State, WSECU. If you aren't aware, WSECU was named by Forbes as the best credit union in Washington State for 2023. So it's very clear that you can't get to be the best of any industry unless you have employees that make it the best. And Lauren and I were talking one day, and she was telling me about all the success that they were having filling positions when what I'm hearing in the marketplace is most organizations are struggling to find and keep good people right now. So I wanted to sit down with her and find out, what are they doing different at WSECU? Lauren is the Director of Talent, Culture, and Diversity at WSECU and has been in this role for the past 18 months, but she's worked in human resources and culture roles for the entirety of her career. And after graduating from college, she started in the staffing industry and along the way worked in banking and engineering and architecture and even Washington state government. WSECU has been her employer for 15 years on and off. And she's gotten to work in all areas of HR for this fabulous mission-driven organization that cares so much about its employees and its culture. She is married and will be celebrating her 20-year wedding anniversary later this year. Congratulations and happy
Thank you. Big deal.
Has two teenagers, 15 and 16, two cats and a dog. So she has her hands full. And she loves to read, take walks, and go on fun and relaxing vacations with her family any chance that she gets. Welcome, Lauren.
Thank you so much, Kim.
Absolutely. I really appreciate you being here. I wanted to start this morning by talking about you. In your bio, you mentioned that your career with WSECU has been on and off for 15 years. And I guess since we're talking about engagement and attraction today, tell me about what's right at WSECU and why you keep coming back.
Yeah, I think I'm not alone. We have a lot of rehires at WSECU, and when people do well, but they leave us, we welcome them back with open arms. So I'm lucky enough to be one of those people who got to come back to the credit union. And I think the pull for me and for lots of people I talk to is our mission and the fact that it's not just something on the wall. It's not just something that, we set it and forget it. I think a lot of people can recite our brand promise, the tenets of our culture, and because we live it and breathe it every day, and we truly walk the talk of doing great things and the right things for our members, our community, and our employees, it makes it a great place to work.
So,
for me,
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Keep going.
Yeah, for me in HR, the added bonus is I get to do that for employees. So our board, our senior management, they say, how can we support the employees? What great things can we do? What more can we do to make it a great culture? And that makes it such a cool place to work, being in human resources, when you get to say, what else can we do for employees and how can we make them even happier and more engaged?
Yeah, when you get to be a part of creating that environment, that's fun work. That's great work. So yeah, I understand why you want to come back to that. Yeah. So are you telling me, people say all the time, well, we have these great values, we have this mission, we have this vision, but you said you walk it and you talk it. Mm-hmm. What does that mean? What does that look like in real practice?
There are so many examples I could give you. In general, it cascades from, what our general mission and the things that we consider important in our values. And then our budget and our business plan and everything are built off of that. And for example, this year we're looking at an acronym called CARE, and it includes just different ways that we're supporting our members, our employees, and our communities. And each organization, each department in the organization is asked to make sure, again, their budget and their business plan support that. And so, we get money, we get time to do those things. And for example, our organization gives back 4% of our net income to the communities. We give volunteer hours, so we're allowing employees who really love being able to go volunteer for causes they care about to spend paid work time to go out and do that. Those are a few things I can think about, but I think those are the things that when employees hear about that in other employees' experiences, they want to come to work here.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. So do you think what percentage of your employees could actually, if you walked up to them today and said, hey, what's our mission and vision and what are our values? What percentage do you think could actually espouse those?
I think, I don't know, between 70 to 90%. And I think the shortened version that we talk about is making members' lives easier. That's a really, short way to capture our longer brand promise. But, we're looking to save people time, money, and stress and make their lives easier. And I think everybody can say that short part.
Awesome. I love it. Tell me about how recruiting is going for WSECU, because I mentioned, you and I were having this conversation and you were having successes that a lot of other organizations are struggling with right now. So what have been some of your challenges and what have been some of your successes since coming back from the pandemic? Because I think things really shifted in those moments or after that time period.
Yeah. 18 months ago when I returned, we were definitely in that really tough recruiting environment where, just like any company, we were having trouble attracting and retaining employees. And the thing that I heard when I talked to my peers was, I think we had it less and we retained people, more often, or more people, at a rate that was higher. We didn't have the turnover that other organizations had. We definitely had it, and it was increased. And I think that was just the environment. We're also seeing that people who've left us in that great resignation and thought the grass was greener are going to companies that don't have that same culture or values, don't live it, and it's just on the wall, and they're returning to us. So, but with our job sites, with our interviews, with any way that we can, we're trying to convey the culture to people. Obviously, there's also Glassdoor and other things where we can't control that. People review and they say what they want to say. So we try to live and breathe a great culture so that we do get those amazing ratings and people who say things about us out there say good things.
Yeah. What are some of your greatest successes, would you say, around recruiting and retention?
I would say a really big one is in the IT world. We've had some big projects where we've used contractors. Over the years, it's made sense. We've worked with organizations that have the expertise. And believe it or not, a direction that we went that I don't think is very common is we un-outsourced some positions in IT, about 7 positions so far. We're looking for a couple more to be filled. But we brought positions back into the credit union because we felt like, this is ongoing work. The work is better done by employees who are committed to our organization, to our culture, to the way we serve. And in this case, they're serving coworkers, but the service is still really important to us. And so it made sense for us to say, this is no longer an outsourced contractor position. And we were able to fill those in the course of the past year in 2023 and get 7 of 10 of those positions moved over. And it actually saves the credit union money and helps us to do more for members in the community.
I think there's a huge mental shift there. And there's a big difference And that is from what I'm seeing in the marketplace. And a lot of organizations are, we just have to get the work done, right? There isn't this idea of commitment. There isn't this idea of relationship. And that is, I think, what you just said, right? Yeah. We see that you see that correlation between someone just doing the work to get the work done and someone who's actually doing the work to take care of somebody. That is you get different, tell me if I'm wrong, you get different productivity. You get different results from that. Is that true? Do you see that?
Absolutely. You're not wrong. And I believe the team would also say it provides cohesion. If you're working with somebody, you're going to have an ongoing relationship with, and, they're not feeling like I'm a contractor who's going to be done with this position in 12 months. I think there is the word you use is great, a commitment level that's kind of lifetime or career long rather than a set period of time. And it made business sense too for us. So we had them as contractors, and then we thought, okay, let's look at this differently. And I really appreciated that.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that they're choosing, I mean, there's something for a lot of people, not all people, there's something freeing about being your own boss and being a contracted employee, right?
Yeah.
Getting to work your own schedule and being in control of all of that. Yeah. But you're having success bringing those people on board. That says a lot too, right? Yeah. That I'm willing to go work for somebody else because I know I'm going to be taken care of and I get to do these kinds of things too. So great. I love that. What else? Any other successes that you guys are really proud of?
I would say something I'm proud of it's another commitment. It's a different one, is from a prior CEO to our current CEO, even in this business environment that's become really difficult, the economic strains that organizations are facing, our company has explicitly stated that we're committed to no layoffs for our employees. And I can see how that would feel like a risky thing for a company's CEO to say. We have an all staff meeting once a year where we all get together virtually or in person. And our CEO reiterated that to us. Doesn't mean we might not have to shift the work that people are doing or ask them to get creative or do different things, learn new things. But I think it really provides a sense of security and comfort to employees with one less really big thing to be worried about when they're seeing other companies, large companies, strong companies, laying off in droves.
Absolutely. That's an amazing commitment. So when you say, we may ask you to be creative, or we may ask you to switch roles, we may change the work up. When you've had to do that, has that been met with open arms, or has that been have you had pushback on that? I mean, I know people in general aren't going to be excited about it, right? Like, no. I love my job and I want to keep doing what I'm doing. Yeah. But what I'm getting at is, I would think that if they know that they're at least safe and they've got this environment that's committed to taking care of them, I can go do this and be, it doesn't make me happy, but I get it and I'll commit. That's what I would think would happen. Is that really what's happening?
Yeah, I would say the last time we had to do it, it's been a while, but it's not the first time, that we've gone through this. So when we had that, I think our employees were, because it had been stated and, we let people know as things were getting tougher with the economy, this is something that might happen. That communication by our executive leadership helped people mentally prepare. And then leaders in those specific areas, for example, during a downturn, we might not be making as many loans. And we might need to support our members who are heading into collections or having a tough time paying on those loans. That might be the work that shifts. So in that case, I think our employees have the skill sets and the comfort to be able to do that. And we've told them this might be coming. And then we do our best to support them with, what does that look like and how's that going to work? And when possible, we want to make sure you can go back to doing what you're doing if business needs allow. I think it's a struggle. It's change. So that's always hard for people. But I believe in those cases, like the mortgage industry is a great example. Our employees are, in those cases, happy to be able to have an alternative in staying here.
Right, absolutely. That was kind of what I was in my mind. That's what I would think would happen, but you don't always know the reality of what that would look like.
Mhm.
So great, perfect. Thank you for sharing that. Any other
Absolutely.
successes you want to share?
I would say the big thing that we're seeing too is we're committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion, and we see the efforts that we've been making with outreach to community organizations and different job boards that we're posting on. We've seen that we're headed in the right direction with our goals. We have aimed to get more people of color in leadership, even whether that's through promotion or hiring or both. Women in technology positions, that's an area we're really proud of too. Veterans, people with disabilities. So we're seeing an increase towards the goals that we've been working on in those areas. And it's great to come to new employee orientation for me every month and to see the great differences across the new employees who are hiring. And I think we aim to reflect the communities we serve too. And I definitely see that in the work that we've been doing.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing. I really appreciate
Absolutely. Yeah.
that. Diversity is such a big topic right now. And I think a lot of organizations talk about it, but to, have you share that you get to walk into a room and see it, like that's impressive. Love it.
Yeah, I love it too.
What do you see are some of WSECU's biggest challenges right now around attracting, engaging, and keeping good employees moving forward? And how do you plan to address some of those?
One of the biggest that I think I share in with my other, HR colleagues in any industry is pay. Inflation continues to go up, whether or not pay can keep up with that and whether or not we can keep up competitively with other companies, especially being in the Seattle market, even though we're about an hour away with headquarters. We have a lot of positions that can work a hybrid role or work remotely in Washington. So we definitely see compensation as a struggle at times, especially for people who value that more than maybe their benefits or the culture. That can happen. And I understand when that can be really important for people. So that's definitely a big one that can be tough to combat. The way that we've tried to tackle that is understanding we might not be for everybody. If you're somebody that loves a family environment and great schools and no traffic and you have to come to work, then Olympia is a great place. And a lot of our communities around Washington are great options for you. If you are into really great benefits and a wonderful package and generous contribution to your retirement, that's, then we probably are for you and you'll really appreciate those things. But if what you're looking for is, the six figures at the highest tier that any organization can pay, we can't always promise that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
Anything
definitely
else?
an ongoing struggle. I think it
Yeah,
always will be.
I think that's true for most organizations, especially right now in this
Yeah.
in this economy. It's just going to be a challenge. And I think a big way to combat that is to have a really solid pay philosophy. And maybe we're shifting pay philosophies right now for a while.
Yeah.
And that's okay, but have one and know how to set that up. I think that's a good strategy to have in these times. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
What sort of insight do you have for people that are listening right now? What can you share about how to succeed in recruiting in this market?
I would say if you have, some of those things that you're really proud of, I always ask the new employees in our orientation class to raise their hand and tell us, what attracted them. So if you have those cool things like volunteerism, or you have great benefits, or a piece of your culture that is really cool, even a leader story or testimonials from your employees, then if you're not already, I recommend, doing what you can to get that out there with your employment brand. And that's an ongoing kind of living, breathing thing on Glassdoor, LinkedIn, your Indeed profile, your job sites, your job ads, all of those places, and try to tell people, what's in it for them, help them picture themselves at your organization and what it's like to work there. And then make sure that you weave those things into your conversations that employees have with recruiters, the candidates' experience in their interview, the follow-up conversations that you have. It's a two-way street. Interviewing is them seeing if your organization is right for them, and the organization asking themselves, is this the right candidate for us? So that's something that we're working on right now as we rebrand everything on our website is our career site.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm constantly talking to clients about, it's not just a list of duties and responsibilities on your job descriptions. You really need those first couple paragraphs to talk about what is it that we offer you and what are you going to get from us? What are we going to provide you? How are we going to support you? That's just as important as what they're going to do for you. And in fact, it's more important, right?
Yes.
I would argue, but so many organizations leave that out. And it's just, you go read job descriptions on Indeed right now, and it's just so uninspiring.
And long, a laundry list of bulleted things you expect them to do. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. No, that's great. Anything else? Any other tips or things that you guys do that you might find unique?
I have one more, and I think it was kind of an unexpected, change in the marketplace with the laws. And it's been interesting. It takes a lot of time, and it is really important to us. And that's pay equity. So, it would not behoove us to forget about our current employees and retaining them and valuing them if we just made these offers that were always, really far above the existing pay, with our employees on those teams. And so something that we did is we consulted with our employment law attorneys. We really made sure we understood the pay equity laws, how they apply to promotions, how they apply to hiring, what we needed to be looking at and what we couldn't look at anymore. And that's really, that landscape has changed a lot. So if that's something, and my advice is if that's something you haven't done in your organization, make sure that you understand those things and make sure that you've got a strategy for how you're working on pay equity, because those employees can talk. And if they want to talk about their salary and they, a seasoned employee finds out that a new hire was offered, the top of the range and they've been here 10 years and they haven't gotten that, that's not a good look on your organization. That hurts retention, and it means you'll have to recruit again if you're not careful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up. I think sometimes, organizations think that pay is not a motivator. So, we don't really need to talk about that, but it can which is sometimes true. Pay isn't always a motivator, but it absolutely can be a demotivator. And pay equity is one of those areas where it can go south really fast as soon as that gets out. So I think we talk to our clients about pay transparency, philosophy, and now in Washington State, you have to put that range on all your job descriptions, which I think is I know it's a difficult thing for organizations at times, but it forces you to do what we should have already been doing.
Yeah,
I think. So that's great. Thank you for bringing that up.
You're welcome.
What are you seeing is the most important thing that employees want and need or asking for right now coming into an organization? What do they want from their employer? What's that one thing that should be an automatic offering, right? Like if you're not doing this right now, good luck recruiting.
Yes. Ooh, that's a hard one. I think employees are kind of all over the place as far as what I've seen. I used to say like it was flexibility or those kinds of things, but I think it still is. It's just changed and it varies by position. We have people in the branches, we have people in back office positions. Like I mentioned, some of them are almost entirely remote and some of them are hybrid. I think it's being as clear as you possibly can and transparent about what you have to offer and what the kind of environmental conditions of the job are. We've learned the hard way that people will read, and they read in what they hope that the job is. And I'm specifically referring to like the hybrid or the remote nature of the position. We say in Washington, and I think people might miss that or wonder if that's flexible, or wonder if that's only when they have to come in. So and we have to keep that psychology in mind when we write our postings, and say that several times, highlight that, bring it up earlier in the posting, whatever we can do to be really clear so we don't waste each other's time. So if you have flexibility, if you have benefits that only apply to certain people, or if the schedule is a certain way, I think give as much information as you can without being confusing, and test it, run it by people and say, does this make sense? Do you understand what this is saying? Because we're putting this out there in job ads. So
yeah, absolutely. Thanks for bringing that up. We're having conversations right now, a lot of conversations around job descriptions and how to make sure that you are being transparent and clear. Because, one of the big challenges that I'm hearing from employers right now is, gosh, we spent all this time attracting this person. We've gone through the whole offer process. They've been here for 6 weeks and they quit.
Oh, yeah.
Right. I'm hearing a lot of that right now. And really, that usually comes down to the job was not clear to them. There was something about that role that when they started, they were like, oh, wait, I didn't know this. Or I didn't know it was going to be like this.
Question of expectations. Yeah.
Right. Because I think you're right. Candidates put their hopes into one thing in a job. Like, oh, well, I'm sure that means that, or I want it to mean that. So I'm going to go with it. Right.
Yes.
Where we can save ourselves as recruiters and organizations time. We are being very clear up front so that candidates actually have the option to opt out of applying.
Right.
And so they're saving you that energy and money. I also hear the stories of we got 400 applicants for one job. Well, maybe it's too broad. Maybe
or it's too exciting.
Exactly. We're not being specific enough about the role to people who are not qualified or who won't be a good fit. Let them determine whether or not they're a good fit for you.
Yeah, if there are tough things about the position, like you're going to be on the phone all day, or, you're always in meetings, or whatever it might be, I think it's important to be transparent about that. Pay is another one where, whatever people are looking for, because we can see the entire range now, and that's required by law, and it's great. It's helpful to talk about that pay philosophy within your postings too, and just say, we have a range, yes, and we also have a target probably for the hiring of this position. And we have existing employees who also have to be placed and be able to progress within the range. So, because I think that human nature there is to say, I want the top. I want the top of that pay range. So
I deserve that top, right? What are you, I think, helping explain who gets the top of that range, right? What are what level of experience do they bring, or what do they bring to the table to get there is helpful. And if you don't necessarily do all of that in your job description, you should be having that conversation in the first conversation.
Definitely.
Right? That first contact. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. What else? Is there anything else that I didn't ask that you're like, Kim, this is a big thing, and I want to talk about it?
I can't think of anything. It's like I say to people in orientation, it's like I mentioned this morning, I think we have our challenges, we have our issues, but having a great culture at WSECU really, really helps. And trying to share that more, and not just keep that to ourselves, get that out and make sure that people know about that has been, I think, one of the keys to our success, and we can still do more of that. So that's really been our goal as a recruiting team, is to get information out, make sure people know about us and know how great we are through all kinds of, different ways. So,
Yeah. Before I let you go, you and I were talking before we went live about another thing that hiring strategies, one of the strategies that we teach organizations, and it's really important for organizations to embrace in order to attract, engage, and keep people, is leadership development. Leadership development is a key growth and opportunity, right? And your leaders are the ones that provide that growth and opportunity for your employees.
They are.
So tell us what you guys do for leadership development, because it's pretty extensive.
We have one big program that we were just talking about before the call started, is our Leadership University. And we are just hitting our 10-year anniversary this year. And we send people through, after they've been with the credit union for a year, we give them a little time to acclimate, understand leadership here, have their teams, get to know their jobs. And then we look to form cadres and send people through, about 15 people or so, a program that lasts almost a year. And it's something that we've done for a long time. We partner with a company called UMass, and they have the instructor. We have our employees go, there's a hybrid model. They go a little bit of time virtually and a little bit of time in person to their class. They have learning teams. They have discussions. They learn content. They read pieces of books. We don't make them read 4 or 5 books or anything, but we have them read excerpts. And we go through and we start with them learning about themselves and different aspects of their personality, move on to team dynamics and emotional intelligence, and then into more organizational level issues and things like change management and communication and project management. And all of those things combined make up about a 10-month course that we send our employees through. So it's a pretty cool thing. Our graduates really appreciate it. We find that a lot of people, end up, successfully promoted over time, and that they really appreciate having the program and not having to go outside or seek really expensive solutions, and have something that fits the culture of the credit union and how we lead.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much for your time, Lauren. I appreciate it. Thank you for being such a great client. And I think I can call you a friend now. We've chatted enough. So
Right.
Thank you for your time, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you, Kim. You too.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.